Was it Jerry Jarrett that came up with the Fabulous Ones gimmick for you ultimately?
Yes, it was. Jerry Jarrett's idea. Jerry Jarrett, he got the idea from recreating the Fabulous Fargos. Jackie Fargo, Roughhouse Fargo, and Don Fargo dominated that area for years and years, 60s and 70s, and they were over like Rover. And he knew when he worked with me for a year before we ever went into that angle, but he knew that if anybody was going to carry that ball, that I was going to be one of those guys that like that kind of a position, the pressure. And so it had nothing to do with Jackie Fargo coming up with the idea. It was all Jerry Jarrett. And then he put Stan Lane and I together, and he gave us what he wanted. I mean, he just sat down and told us. I was already 15 years into the business, so I don't know if that's a veteran, but it was a long time and a lot of miles and a lot of territories and a lot of great guys that worked with me and helped me develop. And so he gave me the ball and I got to run with it. And so Stan and I just took it and ran.
What were some of the highlights for you personally, being a part of one of the teams that people would say one of the greatest teams of the 80s?
Well, it was the way we got over was off of somebody else's reputation. Jackie Fargo was over in Tennessee, even though he had stopped wrestling. When he endorsed somebody like Stan and I, that was something different to the fans in that Tennessee area. And so I was amazed at how strong we got over. And, because I'd been over in Florida, I understood, like being over and being able to draw money and things like that. But at the same time, I mean, it was like a gold mine. No matter where we went, I mean, it was just the crowds. I think that it was kind of confusing because, we're two good-looking guys. I know it's hard to believe now looking at me, but we were two good-looking guys, and that's kind of intimidating sometimes to men that bring their wives or girlfriends to the matches. They don't want the good-looking guy to be a good wrestler or be the hero or whatever. So, but having Jackie Fargo as our manager, it kind of pulled that veil down for us a little bit. So, we didn't try to act like we're out there to be Chippendale dancers or pick up girls. We just acted like, hey, man, we're ready to fight. Paul Heyman said one time that after watching Stan and I wrestle in the Sheep Herders and the Moondogs, that's where a lot of the ideas came for ECW and hardcore, because he saw some of the most hardcore matches in Memphis and Louisville and those places, because Jarrett just booked us, and he would book us against these guys that would come in that were rugged, tough, didn't mind working with me. I was always stiff. I didn't mind if you were stiff with me, but I took pride in what I did. I didn't want to work so loose that you could see through it. And it took a little while for me to adapt to Tennessee, where there was more entertainment involved. But, I made a transition and just kept a little bit of my stiffness, but at the same time, it worked with the Road Warriors and everybody else. So, you kind of develop something, not meaning to, but you always have to change. No matter if I was in Atlanta, Carolinas, or Florida, it was pretty much all the same wrestling. But the minute I moved over to Tennessee, now the entertainment and a lot of midget high spots and a lot of things that I wasn't really high on when I first went there. And it took me a while to adapt. But at the same time, you have to do what the people want. You have to be able to go out and read your audience and work for your audience, not for yourself. Emotion. It's the difference between the business now, where they go by movement. Everything's about movement and memorization of moves, to back then, it was about emotion. Find out what's an emotional trigger on the audience. Bring them in. Let them be a part of it. Let them feel for you. You developed it. We went to the ring and had the finish. Always separate dressing rooms, nothing else. And in a 30-minute match, fill in the blank. 7 nights a week, 9 times a week. You either got it or you got out. So most of the guys that I worked with in that era were really great workers because that they just did it full time so much.
Love you, man. Here.
Go on, Stan. Hey, Stan Lane. This is my best part. All right, buddy. Drive safe, Stan.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Support us on patreon.com for $1.99 a month to watch our full shoot interviews ad-free and help our channel grow. Follow us on Twitter at the Hannibal TV for instant updates.